Hello viewers, you're welcome to Exclusive on TVRC. I'm your presenter for today, Olaniun Kudus Oluwatobiloba is my name. And here with me I have my co-presenter,
Abiola Michael.
So today we're going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic, which I'm particularly excited about. But before we do so, I'd like to introduce our lead analyst for today, Dr. Akintunde Somi Vincent. It's really nice to have you here with us today.
You're welcome,
Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
So we'll be talking about this Bobrisky saga and its effect on youth development here in Nigeria. I'm very, very excited. We've seen Bobrisky's lifestyle and how it has impacted some of the youths here in Nigeria. So we're going to be delving deep into this particular topic, and Doctor is going to be doing justice to this topic for us today. So to get started, Mike.
All right, so just like my presenter said, Bobrisky has an effect, has an influence on the life of the youth in our country. So my first question, Doctor, is who exactly is Bobrisky and what exactly is transgender?
Well, it's so nice to be here today. Being in between two, we don't call it maybe two horses, but apparently it's very nice to be here.
Yes.
Straight to your question, Bobrisky in Nigeria is a cross-dresser. Just straight to your question, and he has over time moved from that level of cross-dresser to what I call transgender. And you ask what exactly is transgender.
Yes.
Then when you talk about transgender, you're talking about transition, or a person transiting from one type of gender to another type of gender. Okay, we have those, for example, a female to male transition popularly is often referred to as the FTM, while the male to female transition is called the MTF. Okay, and this ordinarily, like the word trans, change gender. Okay, change in gender identity. That's in a layman definition. So it's a transition from a particular type of gender to another type of gender.
Okay.
All right. So if you don't mind me asking, is it a legal thing in Nigeria to be a transgender?
Well, it's not part of our value system to see a male wanting to transit into a lady, or you see a lady wanting to transit into male. Well, there's always a kind of modicum of when you visit our universities, we have some people called tomboy. Okay,
yes.
When you see them putting on big jeans, baggy jeans, putting on hamless,
yes.
shaving, having a lovely haircut, all the traits has always been there. But now the way we are witnessing it now, it has gone to another level entirely, where you see when you see individuals changing their organs. I mean, changing the vital parts of their body, like like breast enlargement. Like you see some, they have to do some genitalia. So, like we are witnessing it now in this part of the world. I mean, in Africa, of course, it has always been. It's prominent in the Western world. In the US and in some part of the Middle East, or Far Asia, it has always been there. But in Africa, it's more or less like an aberration to see a lady wanting to change some further part of his body, just because he wants to change his identity.
All right. So now, what exactly is now the root cause of this transgender?
Well, when you look at the root causes,
yes.
many a times it has to do with some modicum of psychology. When you see a lady that is not psychologically balanced, who believe that just because you mistakenly put on a female clothes when you were young, and there's a picture to back it up, and you believe that you've been practicing it. It's more or less like what I call a delusion, a kind of psychological delusion, and it's common. It's very common. I mean, among the young peers, believing, or those who just by chance, where you were still young, and your mom used to make your hair, and now you've grown over time, and you've seen the beauty while you were young. Plaiting hair, making hair.
Of making it as a guy.
Now you've grown, you've reached a particular level now in your life, and you're not seeing that beauty, and that is giving you a kind of, it's turning your head kind of, giving you a kind of disorientation on who you are. Now you don't believe that perhaps there's a mistake somewhere. You were created a female in a male body. So that's a kind of a mental delusion, what I call this kind of
can we call it a delusion or a confusion?
They are all birds of same primate. When you say they are confused and you are a delusional person is a confused person. Somebody with delusion. So these are all psychological terms. These are So when you talk about psychology, it has to do with the mind, the state of the mind, okay, which has its own link with the brain, with the mental. We are talking about the mental capacity here. When you see yourself among ladies or what somebody outside the sex is doing happens to you are hiding what a gender that is different from you, what the gender is doing. You just all of a sudden find a kind of a solace in what the gender is doing. Okay, you see a female making up, and all of a sudden you want to make up too as a guy.
Well,
you see a lady putting on hearing. You also want to. Hearing is not even. It's not even the bone of contact, because even in the Western world, you see male using hearing.
It's not a common thing.
It's a common thing over there. But here, you see a lady putting on a particular underwear, and you think that's the kind of underwear you think you want to put on. So these are kind of, wanting to try something new, or perhaps you just want to embrace something that that is quite awkward to your gender. And now you see male competing with the female gender, and over time we've seen some people. Another issue is when you see a gender and somebody who tried it, and the person has done it successfully, and the person comes out to be a kind of what ordinary society ought to reject, but you see society embracing it. Then you see others wanting to follow suit to do the same. So these are part of the rubric surrounding why this is sort of trans whatsoever.
Wow, that's a lot. Thank you very much, Doctor. We've always seen the government and certain news journals portrayed Bobrisky as he. I've hardly seen him portrayed as she. So because now we really don't know which pronoun to use for him. So is he? We don't know if it is a he or a she or a they. We don't know.
Now there's so many could happen to the body of a man overnight. The moment you start taking certain steps. Now, when you look at a man that presumed himself to be a female, you see they take certain actions through the injection of all manner of nonsense. I wouldn't call it not their whole. Well, let me not use the word nonsense. But the point is, when you see them, for example, a lady, there's what we call hormone, chemical hormone in the body.
Okay.
So when you see a guy wants to become a lady, then you see the guy injecting himself with somebody come up with estrogen.
Yeah,
estrogen.
Female hormone.
Yeah, female hormone. See the part that there's what we call the tissue part in the body, and you see the tissue part all of a sudden becoming fatty. That's what the estrogen will do. When you see the area that has muscles, that has tissues, adipose tissues, you see that tissues will be to break down the tissue into what we call fat. Okay, that's why you see all of a sudden you see the person you see
having cheeks.
Cheeks will start becoming cheeks, and you see the hands becoming fatter.
So it's as a result of injection.
And when you see now we have ladies who all of a sudden start growing beards.
Yeah, I think that's common.
Because they inject themselves with testosterone.
But some of them without being injected grow beards.
That one is, we have a natural, even we have some natural proclivity. Even among the ladies.
Yes.
Among the ladies, we have some people who have the tendency of having some little small beards. That one's always there. But here we are talking about intentionally grown beards. Like we have ladies over time now who just want to. They are not just satisfied with their gender and with their gender identity, and want to change all of a sudden, and then they inject themselves with testosterone. Don't forget that of the female from male to female is estrogen hormone. While from female to male is testosterone. Okay. And they inject themselves with testosterone. That area that contains fat, you start growing muscles. That's the way vice versa. empty, male to female, female to male, and they start growing muscle all of a sudden. And you see the lady coming out, you see the chest,
Coming out,
bulging,
being broad.
being broad.
and the
You see,
shoulders.
but down there, this person still has his own female genitals.
Genitalia.
And then when you see this person outside, you think he's a man. The same thing applicable to female. When you go to a particular street in Thailand, Bangkok, and some part of Malaysia, you notice that there's a particular street in that particular area. Most of the ladies there, they are male folks. But over time, most of them have they've undergone this particular procedure. And now they are now. You think they are ladies, but most of the time, the most difficult part is wanting to convert, to cut, down there, to want to make down there. It's always very expensive. All this vaginoplasty, you want to remove
also very risky,
but
right?
all these things, they are not. I mean, all what we are witnessing now, they are alien to the African culture, and this is why we cannot afford to. We must be alive to this kind of this paradigm shift.
Okay.
It's alien to African culture. A man is a man, a woman is a woman. How on earth will a man want to become? To the extent that now they are not having a community in the Western world. It is called the LGBTQ community, where you have all manner of names.
It's foreign. It is
imported. It is imported. In short, it doesn't seem
I
that.
think we have
Here there's a limitation here. This is what we are saying.
Okay.
In Africa, in Nigeria, there's always a limitation.
Okay.
You can always get to the level of a tomboy in the university, where you want to put on baggy jeans and the very big sneakers. You want to race through, you want to put on harmless. And as even in the community, the moment they start noticing something like that, you are being reshaped through, if not a rhyme code, if not or you are being reshaped through your through your mommy's like it's going to come out plain to you in the middle of the night to tell you that you're not created like this.
You're not born this way.
You're not born this way. You have to get yourself. Like I said, it's a mental issue, and you cannot cure mental issue with in the energy of the flesh. You have to do it consciously. You have to speak to the consciousness of the particular child. That is, it's because all these kids in the Western world, nobody's speaking to their consciousness. It's more or less like a wind, a very bad wind. That has influx. I mean, that has really created a kind of influx into the mind of that particular person or a particular child. All you need, all that is needed to do. I mean, at that point, is to put the boy, let him sit down, or the girl, let her sit down. Then you speak to the consciousness of such a child.
All right, thank you, doctor. So how did we get here? That's my own concern right now. How did it all begin?
Yeah, it's like it's more or less like a foreign influence. Like how this is foreign.
Okay, so what are the means? Is it through social media? Is it through, I don't know, what people watch on
over time?
TV?
Yeah, through the use of all this the media, all the all various mediums that we have across board. When you talk about the television, most of the movies that we watch, most of the social media now is no longer. I mean, it is even the social media what you see on the internet. They are not encouraging. We are supposed to use this to our advantage, but sometimes it is more or less like a bane to our society. When you see a lady, getting married to a lady, it's even worse. Just that all this thing is influence. I mean, it's really becoming an influx now in our society now in the Africa. Over there. They are advancing towards a particular level of a man getting married to another to
AI.
Not AI, and they said that it's been sold out there that they used to cover a kind of that they used to sell clothes, all those teddy bears, all those mannequins.
Oh
Thank you.
Yes.
You see, man getting married to a mannequin, that's their own level. Our own level here is that we still have them in their fragments, and that's why we can still correct it now.
Yes.
And that's why this issue of Bobrisky of a thing we must take it seriously.
Yes,
Must take it seriously because they are still scanty. We only have few names. Maybe you talk about there's one mummy of Lagos, there's one mummy of Abuja, and there's one guy called one J Pogi, I don't know. There's another one called James, one Brown J, or whatever names. They are still in their numbers. We know that others are doing it secretly, but our society does not allow all these things.
So it's not right for an adult in Nigeria to actually change sex.
No, why? I mean, what?
It's not even part of our constitution.
Like I said, it's a mental issue.
It's a mental
Just
issue.
like, so how can you be addicted to stealing of meat? You said it's because I think in my brain I think I'm addicted to. I just want to steal. I just want no. It's a mental issue. It's a mental problem.
So we really have to be very careful.
It's not. It's the same. They are all birds of same primate, conspiring to aspiring all the same, within the same honus. So what I'm saying, what I'm saying in essence is that, see, this is foreign, but because they don't have the capacity to control the situation. But in Africa over time, with our level of education, with our traditional education, over time our parents have taught us that we have the capacity to control something like this, and that's why we have what we call the communal belief. Like the popular saying part of my hometown that says that it is one person that gives birth to a child, but it is a numerous eyes that take care of that child.
That's powerful.
So that's what we call community living. We have a communal living. So when you are doing something wrong, you are more or less like you are disgracing, or you are rendering the name of that family in the mud.
Yes.
And you cannot afford to render the name of your family in the mud, because in Africa, good name is better than silvers and gold.
Riches, yes.
So here in Africa, it is alien to us, and the earlier we realize that, the better for us. How on earth will a full grown-up man, saying it's a mistake? Oh, I think there's something wrong somewhere. That now, yes, it happens even in the U. A man, an Olympic gold medalist, all of a sudden at 60-something years old, realized that he was born a female. A man who has won gold as a man realizes not even. No, all this kind of this is no, it's alien to us in Africa.
It is,
and that's why we have to take a very viable stand. That I'm not being homophobic here. I'm only saying that those who are practicing it, we can only, if they are going to eventually listen to. I mean, it's going to be done through love. Not that, but but the kids, the younger ones, we have to be firm. I'm not saying to apply any kind of corporate. No. Like I just talked about, sit them down and let them see things for themselves. All this. Don't forget that here we believe in spirit.
yes,
And all manner of spirits are flying here, hovering here and there. We have good spirit, good wind, bad wind. Who never can tell? Maybe bad wind has just flown into a boy, and the boy thinks it's not a female, a boy.
Different kind of delulu.
So before we round up this session with the last question, I would just like to add to what you just said, especially regarding the African culture. We have to be very careful, because just like it was legalized in the Western states, there's a possibility that if we're not careful, it might actually become legal here.
Yeah,
so we actually need to, it's something that needs to be, maybe I should say, curb before the roots have time to grow deep into our culture. Okay, so but I would like to ask, sir, what are the implications of transgender? This idea of transgender and the act itself on our future. What are the implications?
Well, see, in this kind of economic quagmire, most of our youth now, they want to do anything for money. And the rate at which those who are practicing it now, the way they are going, some of them have gone. I mean, they've over time, accumulate wealth for themselves through this kind of heinous. I wouldn't call it through this kind of behavior. They sell themselves on social media to the world.
Yes.
I mean, they sell all manner of. People want to take them for an advert. People want to just. They connection.
The fame, I think.
The fame surrounding and so our youth. Some of the youth believe now that this is the right way to go, but in the right sense, is this the right way to go? Can we encourage our youth to start to follow in the footsteps of all these few individuals? No, we cannot encourage them to follow. So, the implication is that if we are not careful, eventually all these kind of things that ought to be stopped may eventually stop our youth. Because one, to even transit from a particular gender to another gender, medically, it's very expensive.
It is. And it's even risky.
And number,
Very
thank you. You know, recently we heard about those who are doing BBL or whatsoever, and that has lost, many has lost their life,
on social media.
lost their life in that
In the process,
Yes.
So now to want to go under the blade just because you want to change your identity,
to what end?
and you're going, they lose a whole lot of blood, you know, the all manner of so many things out there. So what we are saying in essence is that, what I'm saying in essence, if we are not careful in Africa, we eventually notice that these kind of things that we ought to stop our youth from engaging in. You see them, and that's why the elders must, you know. I remember back in time in retrospect, there's what we call this sensitization, orientation, sensitizing the youth, giving them a proper orientation on who. There's this popular saying that there's this man called Socrates said, "Man, know thyself." How can a man who ought to know himself be saying that he's no longer a man? That shows it. There's what we call people. There's something we call schizophrenia.
Okay.
Yes.
So many people are suffering from what I call schizophrenia because they don't know themselves. Many people don't know
Like
who
a
they
lack
are.
of fantasy.
Yeah, they don't know who they are. So we need to, like I said, we have to know thyself, Socrates. Now we need to try do everything possible. To me, like I said, it's very expensive. Number 2, it's very risky. Number 2, if it continues like this and nobody is saying anything, next tomorrow never can tell we come up again.
Exactly.
Like this, the old essence of this is we're looking at Bobrisky saga. Just
Yes.
imagine it within the space of 1 year. Look at all manner of saga here and there. The saga with the EFCC, saga with the EFCC, a saga with we don't even know. Even when he was jailed, we don't even know where to place him. Where to place. Even calling him, I don't even know if it's right. We don't know who to play she or who to play. Maybe it should be in the female with the
Really
female
confusing
inmate,
states.
or to be in the male inmate. Are we going? Is it in this country that we've not even created enough schools? Are we going to start thinking of building another prison for anybody who is transgender?
Never.
Are we going to start thinking of building a toilet? Maybe you want to have 3 toilets now. You have a male toilet, you have female toilet, then you have a shim toilet. You have a shim toilet. No, I mean, when you see, can we look at in this current economy where the country, where everybody is trying to understand what is. So like I said, it is expensive, it is very risky, and it is, we have to, when you look at the influence out there on our youth, it is negative. And again, economic wise, it is, I don't know, this is not for this Africa, where we still have so many needs. We have pressing needs. We have, when you look at on our priority list, there are certain things we have to actualize before thinking of. Look at our roads are still bad. Our roads are becoming death trap. Our schools are kidnappers den. Our health sector is in a state of squalor. What's it called? Oh man, look at, was it not recently we heard about people going on strike? I mean, labor workers, NASU, SANU strike, the resident doctors strike. In short, the teachers, the NSC, the minimum wage has not been implemented. Even the fuel is sold at 1,200 naira per liter. Dollar is going to 1,600 naira per. See, we have pressing needs.
Pressing issues.
And that's why I said this issue is even a distraction. It's a distraction, and that's why we have to. You see, like there's to say back in time in retrospect that every parent should call their children to order. Call your children to order. I mean, call them inside and let them tell them the truth. Tell them what they need to hear.
Yes.
Like they say, charity begins at home. The best form of education is the one that is given at home. The moment they are out there, you notice that everybody start misbehaving. When they say that when you see the parental control, or when you see the education given at home, they take the informal, the non-formal types of the education. It's always the best one. But when it's not given properly, that's when you see all this kind of manner of this peer pressure. And where are they getting it from? Because they have friends. Like I said, I just talked about peer pressure. Somebody said, and you talk like, hello Tobian, you talk like, I love your voice. You love your voice. Can even a man love a man? You see, who does that? Why are you loving a man's voice? You see, I say, oh, you speak like a woman. That's where
That's where it starts.
Yes, you speak like. Who said I speak like a woman? Who said I cannot have a man cannot have a tiny voice? And does that make the tiny voice now? Does that make him a woman now? So, and before you know it, the wind that I call the terrible wind, we start getting kind of distortion in the brain. The because start acting funny, and you see delusion sets in, confusion sets in. Like I said, they are all birds of same feather. Either delusion or confusion. They are all families. They work in tandem. They work sine qua non.
Yes.
So, like I said, it has a whole lot of effect. It has a whole lot of implication on our youth development.
Wow, this is a lot. This is beautiful.
Yeah,
you agree with me, Mr. Mike? This is beautiful.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
the doc has been able to. I believe he has successfully dismantled this topic, and he has been able to sensitize us on what this issue of transgender is in Nigeria. You know who Bobrisky is, what he is, and you know his influence on the Nigerian youth, and how we should curb this as quickly as possible before the roots grow deeper in our culture.
Of course. And I think I need to say something pertaining it as well.
Oh yeah, go
because
on.
A lot of youth are suffering from identity crisis. They don't know who they are, just like you said. So we need to create like some kind of initiative, self-awareness, letting people know that this is who you are. You are not this person. This is how you were created. This is how you are supposed to behave. I think there should be an initiative, like a program.
Sorry, let me quickly cut in.
Okay.
There's always a distinction between a man and a woman.
Yes.
A woman, the moment you have all, you know, the way with that, like a man with the male features completely, you are a man. And when you are a woman, you have everything. You have the way with a woman. Any other thing is more or less like is the work of. Is a dirty wind that has blown. If you think now that after seeing yourself with a female, with a male genital, and you're after seeing yourself with a full male chest, you still believe that I think, then that's the wind that we are talking about.
Yes.
And that wind here in Africa, I think with the help of Oraimo Code, and with the help of like mothers,
such people needs to be checked.
Needs to be checked.
I think it's a psychological problem. If somebody after being aware says he thinks no, it shouldn't be that way.
So John, just like Doctor said, one of the ways whereby we can address this issue is through sensitization of our youths. They need to understand.
Yes.
They need to understand their identity, and of course they also need to understand that there is a better way. We don't need this in our culture. We don't need this in our culture, and we don't need this as like it's basically going to be like a blend, like something that might affect our culture as well. So, and I hope with this short session, we've been able to sensitize you and been able to enjoy this particular session. We remain your humble presenters, Olani Okudusoluwa Tobiloba and
Abiola Michael.
And of course, take care of yourself.
Bye
Have
for
a
now.
wonderful night.